Welcome, Greg. I'm really excited you are able to join me today.
Great. No, thanks for having me and looking forward to our call. Our chat.
Our chat. I'm looking forward to you making me laugh. So, for those of us joining us in, Greg Kettner shares the power of laughter and how it can make our everyday life and work better, how we can work happy, be more productive, take care of our mental health, and how laughter really affects our life, kinds of positive aspects. So, Greg, to jump right in, how did you come up with Work Happy and how did you start it?
I owe a lot of it to my wife. I was director of memberships for a local chamber of commerce here in town, and I got a phone call, and I was told that I was non-essential. I argued that they were non-essential, um, but he was the boss, and so I lost my job, and I was really frustrated. And so I had to go upstairs, right? It was during COVID. We were both working at home and tell my wife that I lost my job. And she's like, you should go golfing. And I said, thank you. So I went out golfing all afternoon. And over the next couple of days, we talked about what I wanted to do because fortunately, I had unemployment for 8 months. And so I had an 8 month runway to come up with something, either find a new job or create something that I've always wanted to do. And I've always wanted to get in the speaking thing because I'd done stand-up comedy for 12 years. I'd done sales for 27. And she said, well, why don't you help other people work happy? You're always outgoing and friendly and funny. You have the corporate experience and you have the stand-up. If we can combine them, you can share with other people how to work happy. And I said, that's it. And for the last 18 months, I absolutely love what I do. And I get to meet great people like you. And so that's
I
how it all
love it.
started.
That's amazing, Greg. You came up with your own superpower
Yeah.
based, combine your experience with your talents and gifts and came up with your purpose, which I think it's fantastic. Now, I watched your TED Talk and in it you shared the story with Robin Williams, which I
Yeah.
thought was a pretty cool encounter. So can you share that story with me one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had been doing stand-up comedy for probably about 6 to 8 months. Robin Williams, I grew up listening to him and Bill Cosby. And so I was at, it was an open mic. I absolutely remember it was at the Urban Well. It was a Tuesday night. And there was a 7 o'clock and a 9 o'clock show. The 7 o'clock was for the rookies, the newbies, which I was a part of. And then they would vote on who had the best set from the 7 o'clock, and we got to open the 9 o'clock show. So kind of working our way up the ladder. And so I was third on the bill. There was probably 7 or 8 of us, including the bartender. So it was basically comedians telling jokes to each other and the bartender and one girlfriend. Nobody had to pay to get in. And then halfway through my set, the door opened up and in walked Robin Williams. And in my head, I'm like, holy cow, that's my hero just walked into this pub. And he grabbed a beer, sat down, and he started laughing at my jokes. And I was just absolutely blown away. I started thinking, how am I going to connect with my hero? What am I going to do that's going to set me apart from everybody else that's ever gone up to him or asked for a picture or an autograph? And so I thought I would pretend that I had no idea who he was when I got off stage. And it totally worked.
How did that work out?
Yeah, I don't think anybody else had done that to him before. So I went and grabbed my own beer, sat down beside him, and just kind of started having a conversation while these other guys were going up. And asked him where he was from, what he was doing. He said he was from San Francisco. He was working on a movie. And I was like really interested. I'm like, oh, movies, that must be fun. Are you in catering? Are you hold the microphone? Are you the camera guy? What do you do? And he kind of looked at me like, why the hell does John Goodman have no idea who I am?
Or Prince Harry.
Or Prince Harry. And so we just kind of continued to talk, and finally I couldn't take it anymore, and I started to laugh. I said, dude, I totally know who you are. I'm a big fan of yours, and it's because of you that I got into stand-up comedy, and this is what I do. And then he said something looking back, it has stuck with me and changed my trajectory on life and what I do. And he said, Greg, he said, you're really funny. Keep doing what you're doing. He said, because you'll never know the difference you make in someone else's life because you made them laugh. And that has happened over and over and over again. I was just had a Zoom call this morning with a friend of mine over in Europe, and we've only known each other through Zoom. So we didn't know each other from before. And he got on and I said, what's going on? He goes, well, I hope you can make me laugh. And so I shared a couple of jokes with him and we got him laughing. He said, you know what, the cool thing about you, he goes, every time we talk, my wife knows because I'm in a better mood because I laugh. And that stuck with me. I mean, the Robin Williams story is about 10 years ago. And then, so we had this conversation and whatnot. He went up on the 9:00 show. They asked him to go up and he did 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So the bar is packed. The bouncers are charging $20 to get in. There's 200 people and he destroyed. And afterwards he came up to me and he goes, thank you for treating me like a normal human being. I appreciate it. Keep doing stand up. And he goes, do you want an autograph or a picture? So I got a picture. So I've got a picture of him. He's a short guy and he still had his makeup on. They were filming Night at the Museum and he just gotten off, finished filming, jumped on his bike and came over and did 2.5 hours. So it was a lot of fun.
That's so cool. That's awesome. I met him in Lake Tahoe one time. He was on his bike.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we passed him. I think he had a house on the West Shore. And we passed him. And I because he had like helmet and glasses and it was kind of hard. When we started talking with him, I'm like, yeah, that's Robin Williams.
But just a nice guy, right? Unassuming.
So nice. Yeah.
Just it was terrible how he died. You know, we all have our demons and mental health is real no matter who we are. It's not our fault. It's stuff that happens to us in our life and it's just how we deal with it. But yeah, that story always stuck with me and the lesson is just to be yourself and to have fun and to laugh and roll with the punches when you have to.
So now, Greg, you work with you've worked with, or work maybe currently with some professional sports teams.
Yeah.
You currently work with some professional sports team. I
No.
mean, you have NBA and NFL and NHL, MLB, MLS, and you help them increase revenue, reduce employee turnover, and create mental health first culture with the WorkHappy game plan. How much of that WorkHappy game plan can you share here without giving away all of your secrets, obviously, to help somebody who's watching this? We would keep it short. So give me the highlights.
If we had 4 hours, I could share the whole thing with you.
Right. We don't have 4 hours.
I work with some of those sports teams a lot more. I'm in the SaaS software. People are tend to be more my clients. I've just kind of gravitated towards that and whatnot. But basically the WorkHappy game plan is how do we take our employees from being stressed to self-care, things that they can do on their own so that they have less stress, better health, better mental health. And then also too, how do we go from lonely to a sense of community, right? Because 2 years ago, everything was thrown upside down. We're now working from home or in a closet on Zoom. How do we rebuild that sense of community or a virtual water cooler? And then finally, how do we find purpose and take people from overwhelm to being productive again, to where they want to get up, and go to work? Because what I hear from a lot of my clients is we're losing people. People don't want to stay around. And the people that we do have, we're having a hard time motivating. So how can we help our employees? And basically what it comes down to is putting people before profits. And I know that everybody, it's a system where we need to make money and grow. But if we take the time and spend a little bit of our resources on our people, it's going to be huge on the back end. And the perfect example of that is Richard Branson. He said, take care of your employees and your employees will take care of your customers.
Exactly. We share the same business mentor with you, it looks like.
Yeah, right. And you do the same thing too, right? You help people find what their passion is and their purpose, and let's live it and let's help other people. And I've been in sales for 27 years and I've made a lot of money. I made okay money. I did stand up for 6 years, which is horrible money. But it's so refreshing almost every day I get to talk to somebody who said one of my posts made them laugh, or an idea that I gave out, whether it's, as silly as breathing sounds to meditation. But I get to help people wake up, go to work, and enjoy their jobs. And that's more rewarding than money.
Yeah, well, we all know in the research and the data shows that well-being is the cornerstone for performance, right?
Yeah.
So taking time to take care of yourself, like you said, self-care and humor and laughter is definitely in there.
Yeah.
High up there, actually. And we just, we don't spend that much time laughing or having fun or doing something that puts us in positive mood, when all the data shows that positive mood increases your performance
Yeah.
at work. So you're definitely on the right track there. How do you take care of yourself? Because from what I'm seeing, sometimes people in this industry of elevating work culture and mental health, they also have to take care of their own, right?
Yep.
So what are some of your own practices?
Yeah, I think that's a very important. I firmly believe that we can't take care of others unless we take care of ourselves first. So it's almost, we have to be a little bit of selfish, right? If I'm not taking care of myself, how am I going to help my wife and my daughter? If I'm not taking care of myself, how am I going to help my clients and my friends, or the people that I have influence with? And so some of the things I've picked up over COVID, and since I've been teaching this and learning, I've taken classes and done a lot of research. I used to cope with the overwhelm and the stress with Jack Daniels and wine. But as we all know, everything in moderation is an okay thing. But what I've learned during the pandemic is to really focus on me. And the three biggest things are, when I wake up in the morning, I have a routine. I get up and exercise for 20 minutes. I do breathing exercises for 15, meditation for 15, and I read for 15 minutes. So there's about an hour and a half where it's just me. And I'm pretty good, not 100%, but I don't check my phone until after all those things are done, right? Because if you check your phone at 5 o'clock when you wake up and you get a frantic email or a junk mail or whatnot, it takes your mind away from what I need to do for myself to have the best mental health and be in the best shape that I can. And, to be honest, on some days it doesn't work. I'll wake up and maybe I'll feel overwhelmed, or this isn't working or whatnot. And so I'll try and do something else. Like I'll go golfing, or, go. It's funny. I learned this from my wife, but sometimes I'll just go out in the car and drive and just blast my favorite music and just drive for a half hour. But it's just me in the car and my tunes. So whatever it is that I can do to relax my mind so that I can serve people even better.
Mm-hmm. Where do you find your inspiration in your creativity?
I find a lot of it during golf. I'll take notes, or I'll actually do a Facebook Live while I'm golfing. And I find a lot of inspiration. I'm a big fan of Gary Vee and Simon Sinek, so I listen to their podcasts.
That's one thing we disagree with you. I'm not a big fan of Gary Vee.
Okay. The swearing, or
well, considering he's kind of considered the godfather of hustle and hustle culture, he did a lot of inspirational bullshit really to inspire people to hustle more. So he has changed his message since then in his favor. I would say he's now talking about kindness and patience and slowing down and being kind to your employees, but he didn't. So
he must be following you then.
I don't know, maybe he's taking notes.
But yeah, another podcast, I don't know if you've listened to it, but Smartless. It's with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and who's the other fella? He was from Will and Grace. But it's these three Hollywood actors that are, and it's more of a lighthearted. I really don't learn any life lessons, but they just interview people. So, but I get a lot from reading, from listening to podcasts, or just being outside, having conversations. We met somehow through, I think it was LinkedIn.
I don't know how we met.
Yeah, right.
we just saw we're on a very similar mission in life. Yeah. Make people live better.
But I get inspiration from what you do, right? And the back and forth that we have, and the things that we both share with people to help people is very inspiring to me, and it makes me even more creative.
Thank you for that. What have you seen from working with these professional, high performing teams? What have you seen that you can take and apply to just a typical organization?
Probably the biggest thing that I see is mental health is a huge issue. It's some people call it another pandemic. Just we're on our screens, we're not connected socially, physically anymore, and a lot of these people are just really struggling with mental health, but nobody is really out there talking about how to talk about mental health, how to bring up the subject, how to look for signs if maybe a spouse or a child or a friend might be suffering from anxiety or depression. And so I go into organizations and I have this conversation and I share our family story about suicide and mental health and the things that we've done to get through it. And it's been amazing. I just did training, the WorkHappy game plan for our local police and sheriff department last
How do
week.
they perceive it?
Yeah. And well, it was interesting because I walked in there and here's, 60 guys and gals with loaded pistols and type A and like, oh, what's John Goodman going to talk about? But during the 4 hours of training, I probably had 10 or 12 conversations one-on-one with these people they were saying, thank you so much for approaching the subject. They wanted to ask more. One guy wanted to ask more about breathing. Another guy wanted to go golfing with me at some point. And then 2 days later, I was at a ZZ Top concert and I had 5 different police officers walk up to me and say, thank you so much for talking. We're still talking about it. And the fact that you talked from the front of the room now gives me the courage to open up and talk to somebody else about it. And that's
cool.
The only fuel that I need, right? Because I'm not a counselor. I don't do the one-on-one with people. OER, they need to go to a doctor or a licensed counselor, that sort of thing. But the fact that I have the ability to let people know that it's not their fault, they're not alone, and it's okay to talk about stuff like this. I mean, if we have a bad back and we have to go have back surgery, we'll tell people like, oh yeah, I got a bad back. Here's what we're going to do. And people give you advice, or, when you're out of the hospital, come bring you food. But you mentioned anxiety and depression. People are like, ooh, I don't want to catch that. Well, newsflash, you can't catch anxiety from somebody.
Yeah. Greg, do you have a favorite joke you want to share with us?
A favorite joke?
Laugh?
Well, I can
Make
tell
us
you
laugh?
a dad joke that I have.
Okay.
What did the right eye say to the left eye?
I don't know.
Between you and I, something smells. Horrible joke, but it gets a laugh every single time. Whether it's in church or at a conference, or even my 17-year-old daughter rolled her eyes last night when I told that joke. And then after she rolled her eyes, I said, come on, Rachel, you can do better. She's like, what? I go, that eye roll is only like a 5 or a 6. I expect 9s and 10s. And then she was very confused.
So, Greg, you help people or organizations with speaking. Do I get this right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I also keynote. So I have an expansion of my TED Talk and talk about the power of laughter in the workplace. Obviously, it needs to be appropriate. Dad jokes are typically appropriate. But it's amazing. One study showed that kids laugh up to 300 times a day and adults only 17.
Wow. Say
right?
the statistics again. Kids laugh what?
300 times a day for kids laugh.
300 times a day.
Only 17.
And adults only 17. And that's probably still high for the adults.
Probably.
I think there's probably days when adults don't laugh at all.
Yeah.
It's sad. That's sad.
But it's true. But I mean, when we do laugh, it releases the endorphins, and as you know, that's the happy drug, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. But when we laugh with people, it connects us. There's a bond. You never have a good belly laugh with somebody you hate or you can't stand. But it also can, laughter can reduce friction, confrontation between people. It helps with people with communication. because when we're laughing, we're more attentive. All kinds of good things just from laughing. And it's not hard to do.
So one way for us to laugh more is to hire you to come and speak, right?
Yeah.
And you highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Put your website here in the banner. There we go.
So I do keynotes, and then I also do the training with the WorkHappy game plan. Oh, and the other thing I do, I forgot to say, is I have a laugh and learn instead of lunch and learn. So it's a 25-minute program, and I tell some funny stories, like running over the Queen of England, almost bowling her over at a hockey game, sharing the stage with Norm Macdonald, but just kind of more lighthearted, but to get people motivated and laughing. I was doing one of these for a friend of mine in Vancouver. It was all on Zoom. And afterwards he called me up and he said he could tell the level of excitement or his employees being motivated from just laughing for 25 minutes. And it wasn't work related. There were no slides. It was just, let's have fun, let's connect, and go from there.
That's awesome. So we know how people can work with you. Where can people find, or how can people find more ways to laugh? Do you have any resources that you can share? Like, what are some steps that people can lighten up their day?
Yeah, there's a ton of resources. On YouTube, there's a channel called Dry Bar Comedy, and it's all clean. So your grandma can watch, your boss can watch, your kids can watch. But there's just a plethora of comedians that you can watch as well too. Anywhere from a Brian Regan, who's very tells stories, very funny, very clean, to someone like Bill Burr, who's a little bit more edgy and controversial, if you will, especially in this day and age. So obviously those ones you don't want to watch at work. But I recommend to people, put it in your calendar, 5 minutes every morning.
Laughter session.
Go on YouTube, and whether it's cats doing stupid things or babies laughing uncontrollably, but whatever it is, take that time and you'll feel better. It'll pick you up, it'll free your mind, and it burns calories.
Have you ever done laughter yoga?
No, I've heard about it. I might.
It's so funny. It's so funny because it's contagious, right? Yeah. And basically one person starts and then everybody is laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And it can go on for like.
Do you know why you're laughing, or are you just watching other people?
You just start watching other people laughing. I mean, somebody starts gets people going, or gets one person going, and then everybody starts laughing, and it's just watching other people laugh.
Yeah, it's like wildfire, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and when I used to play the clubs, I would love it. You'd get a certain crowd, and you get halfway through the show, and everything you said was laughter, and so you almost got to the point where you didn't have to tell as many jokes because there's longer laughter breaks in between them.
That's awesome.
Which is a sign that you're doing okay.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. I know you're heading out on vacation soon.
I am. I'm coming down to Mexico, to Cabo. My wife and I are
going to Cabo on vacation.
And sit by the pool, read a book and whatnot. But I appreciate you having me on your show. And thank you so much for all that you do. It's great to know you and collaborate with you, and looking forward to working with you in the future.
Me too. I'm excited. I'm going to be inviting you for some sessions here coming soon. Perfect. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Greg.
All right, Milena. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You can connect with Greg once again at Greg Kettner and invite him to deliver his WorkHappy game plan to your organization, or invite him for keynote speaking. And if you want to learn more about Unhustle and how Unhustle can help you fit your work into your good life instead of the other way around, connect with me at unhustle.com. Bye, Greg. See you later.
Yeah. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.